I was imagining would go the other direction.
Well, either way, though, I imagine this one's, like I said, will probably be good. But let's take a look at where they're going to be playing so we can get a better idea who this might favor.
So, BootKamp first, Immortals second. We'll see in just a second which maps are not going to be played as they were played in the previous play day. And, you know, after that, we'll get into the actual bans. We'll go to that one map that we get to play.
Yeah, big question marks there. So.
Okay, so it's Immortals first and
There we
BootKamp
go. Okay.
second, the other way around. And then
Alright.
Bank and Border are going to be what we played last play day for Latin America, or for these teams in Latin America. Consulate already gotten rid of by Immortals, so we're not going to see a repeat.
Well, because they saw that 6-0 BootKamp pulled on it previously, and they're going to
Yep.
axe that immediately, which is a good move on Immortals' part.
Probably the right call, yeah. Villa also taken out, so none of the new, but we do
Coastline.
get the relatively new in Coastline. So I do always like to see this map played. It's a really interesting one. And
Yeah.
it has some, I think, some things that you would imagine are predetermined. So, like, for example, the roam. It's hard to roam on Consulate, or sorry, Coastline, rather, compared to some other maps,
Yeah.
like Consulate, for example.
Absolutely.
But
it's very different.
yeah, but we've seen a lot of teams upset that understanding, and there's always something new on this map every single time we play it. Sometimes it's a little thing, sometimes it's really obvious and it's big, and it influences the match, you know, very directly. But there's always something new with Coastline.
Well,
I like
see
that.
what you guys think about how this match is going to go. Obviously, you didn't know what the map was going to be, so that is not going to factor in. But BootKamp pulling a bit ahead there, 50%. I mean, that's not technically the majority, but it's still pretty good vote of confidence. That's a pretty high draw rate there, because we've seen a lot of single digits lately.
Yeah, this is a really high percentage for the draw 15.
So they agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was imagining as well. I think this is going to be, it's going to go all the way down to the wire, what we just witnessed. But I think at the end, both teams will secure that 1 point.
Yeah.
I mean, when we're talking about two teams that are so close to each other in the middle there, both of them are fighting for the same exact reason.
Yeah.
And we in the previous match, we talked about how Liquid seemed low energy. They didn't really need to win that match. Sure, if they had won against FaZe, they would have given themselves a much better lead. But, you know, when you're fighting for something you know you need in order to succeed in the season, that is a huge source of encouragement. And I think both teams having that is going to aid them. But here we go. We're going to load into Coastline. And
now this does, in some ways, slightly favor Immortals, as they have played it once against Team 1, and they won that 6-4, whereas BootKamp have yet to play. This is actually the second time we're seeing this. So this is like Consulate, where we're just today seeing the map for the second time this season.
Huh.
So the two Cs that didn't want to come out too much earlier going to shine today. And there's a ban you don't see often.
All right, so I can understand an IQ ban pre-nerf, but now post-nerf, it's a little bit perplexing, especially considering how infrequently she's played now. There's gotta be something that BootKamp knows that we don't about Immortals playstyle.
Two possible reasons: either a counter to a specific player or playstyle, or it's a case where they want to use certain operators that IQ counters well, or maybe a mix of both.
See, that's the thing, though. I hopefully expect there to be either Valkyrie ban or Echo ban. We're gonna get one of those two almost for sure.
I would think so. And there's GSG9 too. Both of them.
Yeah, both of the GSG9 attackers. That's really interesting. So Mira is going to be the ban actually from wow, Immortals. That's crazy. So that means that BootKamp doesn't have to ban Echo, doesn't have to ban Valkyrie, and they can use both of them when they're on defense. It is absolutely insane that we saw a Mira ban instead of an electronic base ban. I mean, the thing is though, Mira influences these sites on Coastline a lot, a ton, and that's also interesting.
That's weird to me, because if you're going to ban IQ, what's the operator that gets tracked the best by?
It's a Vigil,
as opposed
or
to
a Pulse.
Yeah. And maybe they're going to play heavy Pulse, but Vigil, I don't know.
I know. The way I'm seeing this now is they've got Echo, and they're not. Wait, they're not going to be able to pick them. Maybe they're six pick him.
Yeah.
I mean, this lineup makes sense too. They're also going to use Alibi, who technically electronics.
Going with the double Italian operators potentially.
So weird.
Yeah, it's
wow.
I mean, it's hard because we don't get the interviews with them to really be able to find out why. There's the 6 pick. He was going to pick Glaz earlier. Wanted to keep it a surprise for BootKamp, and they're going to do exactly that.
This is just such a weird match already, and we haven't played around yet.
I can't wait to watch it now to find out what they are planning.
So the IQ band, hints at heavy electronic play. We are seeing heavy electronic play, but it's not the electronics we would expect. It's not the typical, Valkyrie Echo
No, they
situation.
just really want to hide those goo mines, okay? they want them to step on them so bad.
And the alibi decoys.
I guess, but I don't feel like that even does that much for you spotting those.
To be honest, yeah, the decoys aren't.
You're gonna catch those on drones half the time, anyways.
Yeah, and we don't really see the decoys be very useful usually in Pro League. We've seen a couple people play them, but
I like Slash's play on Clubhouse Stairs was kind of interesting for one time.
But I think most of the reason that people play Alibi isn't necessarily the decoys. They just like the kit aside from that, and it's a little cherry on top. Sometimes that's how abilities work. It's the same thing for like Vigil, for example. Vigil, he gets played because he's got an amazing kit. He's got 2 primary weapons in that K1A and the SMG-12. The SMG-12 even in some instances arguably better.
But either way,
range.
You don't even have to reload. You've just got 2 good guns.
Right, you've got 2 primary weapons. You've got the impacts. You've got so much really in your pocket, and that's why people play Vigil. The ability to go invisible to drones is also useful. All that aside, Cyber first kill of the round onto Duds. A pretty easy one at that. He just went for the repel early and got that kill.
I mean, that was a little bit risky because he needed to do his job that you just saw him do, but peeking that early could have cost him his life.
Absolutely could have. Luckily, though, for him, it did not. And Pala looking for the refrag, but not to be. As you can see, Cyber is already on the roof.
He doesn't have a goo mine from the looks of it in the bathroom either, which generally is a good idea to have under that drop hatch so you know exactly when they finally drop it. I mean, you can hear as well, but that way you could find out from a bit further away.
It is nice to have that information, that's for sure. Navi's playing Twitch, and of course the F2 slightly less damage than it had in the previous patch. It went from 40 damage to 37, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. Probably going to be the same hits to kill for most players. And as he challenges into the main hallway upstairs, just sitting on L right now, he's going to get an EE1D, which will force Pala to stand still, but he's actually just going to move right through it. He manages to get away into the main lobby, and now he's going to be a continuous thorn in the side, or more specifically, the feet of these attackers as they attempt to take this main lobby.
Well, a minute and a half already burned here, and Intact just barely missing a shot there that really could have helped turn things back around to being a 4-4. The Glass and Alliance still left alive here, going to work out pretty well, but they don't have extra smokes coming out from any other operators, so it's going to depend on Diogo to do all the smoke for himself, which could backfire on him if he's not able to fully utilize that smoke as he pops it, because he only gets 2, depending on how they want to push that. You could even see him pushing from above through those buck holes that they just opened, depending on how he wants to play it, or delivery. But either way, Pala taken down. Navi's means no more Twitch on the board.
Well, Intact missing out on a potential kill, who's right above him right now. The timing right now for Attacked has just not been great. Unlucky is the word, and it's going to continue. But with 38 seconds on the clock, timing is going to be very much in the favor of BootKamp, aside from Intact's play under these holes, as they only need to wait just a little bit longer. Cyber going to prep the nade, and it's a little bit too soon there, but he will still get the kill onto Smoke. A very important one at that, as these gas canisters were holding up his team, trying to push into the delivery. Insecurity Lipe looking for a potential flank. He might be able to get one onto Cyber as he comes down the main lobby stairs, but the defuse plant is the main priority right now, and he does get that flank kill. Pala follows up with one onto, well, one. Lipe through the wall onto Yuke, following the mark, and it's just Glaz outside delivery doorway, and there's not much he can do with so little time.
I was a little disappointed in the support that they were giving Intact in terms of trying to keep him alive down there, but nonetheless, they managed to show up when it counted timing-wise on that. Obviously, the Maestro cam there definitely helped and was a little bit of a factor in that, because maybe it didn't get the kill itself, but it did a lot of damage to soften up the planter and make it easier to get that wall bang into a kill, which obviously transferred it around it. But again, the Glass didn't have a lot of smoke to be able to play with in terms of pushing that. He did it a little bit late. They did manage to get Intact out, but he'd already used his second smoke anyway, so he wasn't going to be a critical factor. And again, the smokes were really just going to work in their favor for the most part anyways once they'd gotten in. But they're going to go with a Ying this time instead, assuming they don't 6-pick off of that for a penthouse attack. But the defensive lineup exactly the same so far.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the 6-picks have.
There we go.
What?
All right, well, there's that Echo.
Okay.
But instead of a smoke?
Put the smoke onto the Echo and not the alibi onto the Echo.
All right. Well,
are you feeling that, Devin?
No, but you know what? They won last round, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for the moment. we're going to see that Glaz
That's
pick
fair.
again.
That's absolutely
We'll
fair.
see. We'll see. I mean, these guys play very different than we see in the other regions, and sometimes that leads to some strategies that are maybe counterintuitive to what we'd expect.
It just in my mind,
Yeah.
the simple equation. It's the level of contribution to the overall utility that your team has to deny a defuse plant and play the objective is less with this lineup from BootKamp than it would be if you rotated Alibi for smoke, for example.
Arguably, you can potentially delay longer with Echo because of the fact that it recharges.
Right.
But
well, I mean, the Echo for the smoke, sure, fine. Like, that's not a problem for me. I mean, they're kind of on even.
But the fact that you could have had both.
Right, exactly. Why not have both?
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually, Gasonic brought this up once before. Some teams' logic behind playing operators like Alibi instead of your Smoker or your Echo is you can delay further off-site, and then once the actual site push comes in, there's not much time. And we actually, on that note, when Light played Alibi last round, he did exactly that. He got a flank kill in the main lobby, and then he denied the defuse plant from the main lobby as well, because he had been delaying for so long as a roamer leading into the round. So sometimes you don't necessarily need that on-site presence that can, deny you based on utility. You just need to delay.
If this were another map, I would agree with you more. But this is a map that does not favor roamers for the most part. So that's a much riskier thing to count on.
But he made it work in the previous round. So we have the example to lead by.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in general, I would also agree with that statement. It's, this is conventionally not a roamer map.
Now, they are bringing Lion this time, though. That could make it a much harder job because, you saw that push, like you said, at the last second from the roamers. Now that's going to be denied a little bit, but Lipe getting a kill onto Buck should help those roamers out quite a bit because that's now Buck off the board, which means a lot of destruction will not happen.
So we can criticize all we want on the Alibi pick. Lipe has been really performing on it.
Absolutely.
And when it really comes down to it, if you kill all 5 of your opponents, it doesn't really matter who you play.
Absolutely. So, continue to prove us wrong, Lipe. That's fine by me.
Now, the angles that are being played by Immortals and the way that the style at which they're playing right now is very slow. You can see they're just looking for fights. They will get one of the Evil Eyes inside of VIP, but not before the Evil Eye is able to destroy a lot of Excaro's pellets. Now, this is really important and weird to me as well. We have not been seeing Thermite played much today.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been banned yet, so it's just kind of confusing and adding to the list. Meanwhile, I mean, in this round, Intact has been down and he's going to be picked up. Another thing that's confusing, no MP5 on an Echo on Penthouse defense. You've got so many long... We'll get to that later.
As long as they keep winning, I guess we could question them all day long, but the
Here comes the push into the main lobby, or sorry, the main hallway. Navi's with an easy triple kill, and that's all due to one door being unwatched. BootKamp now going to have to retake onto VIP. Duds gets an easy one on Diogo. But Lipe to follow up in the hallway, going to try and get control over Projector. It's going to be very difficult as the diffuser has been planted. And here comes the shutout from Immortals. That all thanks to, again, one door not being watched.
Yeah, I was definitely catching them off guard as well because they had to spend that time picking the Echo back up. That cost them a bit of their defense. I liked the idea of the shield in the corner, the way he was trying to play it, because they weren't playing a soft wall with a window. They were like, we're going to play this as a hard wall. His job was to sit there behind that shield watching that door. So that, unfortunately, is where the Maestro failed that round.
Still though, I want to come back to how confusing some of the choices that are being made are. They're just out. I mean, outside of the meta is kind of a light way to put it.
Yeah,
I think there's more to it than that. It's some of these choices are just kind of downright confusing.
I do gotta point out though, credit to Lipe for staying alive and doing his job fairly well, despite the fact that it's not the meta.
Yeah, Lipe has proven himself on Alibi. As much as it's we typically point a finger and say not a great operator, and instead of Intact rotating onto Echo this time from the smoke, it's going to be the Maestro rotating onto Echo.
Which in a way should have been. I still think outside of these individual players, a lineup of Echo, Smoke, Maestro, Legion is so strong to deny any kind of push that it seems, again, odd to stick on the Alibi. If he was not doing so well on it, I would really question. But look at him, top of the board right there.
Yeah, it's hard to. See, the thing is though, even with him being the top frag, it's still hard to justify it.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to see that and go, yeah, this is a great decision.
You know what? Maybe we're just not seeing those holograms like doing their work because
I could see Lipe right now playing Jaeger and just rotating duds onto one of the operators we were referring to, any one of them.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you've got your perfect dream lineup. You've got a roamer capable operator in the Jaeger on Lipe, so he can go do his job, but he doesn't have to sacrifice any utility.
Yeah. We'll see this round, though, if they make up for what they did last round. He is running the MP5 this time on Echo.
Right, so this is good. It's a different player, I believe.
Yeah, it's M-King, that's why.
Yeah. And I really, again, MP5, you don't always have to bring the MP5, right? The shotgun is totally great.
But most of the time, you probably should.
Yeah, in this site in particular, you really should have the MP5. We're talking about some seriously long angles, really tight ones.
Well, you saw him fighting those as well.
Yeah, and he was fighting them with the SMG, the Bearing 9, which the Bearing 9 is great, you know, for close range engagements, but it really is not favored on those tight angles, long range.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was what he was trying to fight, was a bit more of those pixel peaks onto that doorway. But either way, Diogo's actually taking a bit of damage already, surprisingly, and it's going to slow down the attack a little bit, but 2 minutes left. More than enough time for this attack to still happen. I would like to see these attackers do a better job of trying to chase down the roamers of Lipesword, because all they've got is the Lion Fort, but they didn't bring a Jackal, they didn't bring a Dokkaebi, which Dokkaebi being such a high pick rate surprises me that they're not bringing it, because it's letting Lipesword just kind of run around and do his thing for a while, and that would be a good counter to what they're doing.
Yeah, Lipe's ability to roam freely is, I think, going to hurt Immortals a lot, especially in just the long run. This is a great camera position,
they just let him jump it up there.
Really worth noting. I mean, the lack of a mirror window is going to make it really difficult to see a lot of the B site. And obviously, you've got the yokai drones from Echo. M-King's going to be spotting things out, but it's hard for him to spot out, call out, and then also directly challenge things like a drone.
Of course.
Obviously, he wants to just keep on the information, I'm sure.
Well, we'll see if that information pays off, because it is starting to collapse now here with a minute left. They're starting to open up the angles and the walls. They just need to actually take control of VIP, but they're actually contesting someone down in delivery, and Navi's getting that first kill onto Lipe. There we go. That is what they needed to do, is take him out early, not have to deal with him later in the round. And there's a nice kill right onto the Smoke's face by Diogo. Looking very Immortals favored here.
That was a nice shot there from Diogo. He's got to find a couple more, but it doesn't look like BootKamp have anything to directly contest him with. Yokai drone's still in play, from my understanding, and the smokes are going down on the B to A rotation. So a nice cutoff and another one tap onto M-King. Nice headshot. Duds and Paula, the last two defenders. And one in projector, the other in the hallway. Paula does get one, goes with a follow-up, but cannot secure it. And Cyber and Navis will lock out the round. Immortals take yet another.
Well, despite a much better setup in terms of operator choices that time, it just came down to, well, Lipesword died early. Then the snipe coming out onto the smoke was another really great play. The Glaz just dominating the round. Unfortunately, that little bit of pixel angle, and he saw that bright yellow marker as well, just really worked out for Glaz there. Like I said, they just didn't have enough denial on the Glaz to be able to really stop him, which is unfortunate. I liked the attempted flank, though, from Duds coming around from behind. Unfortunately, that barbed wire might have even given away his position as he tried to push for that theater door. But they wouldn't have been able to do much against that Glaz either way. They needed to get that pick onto him. They needed it. Well, they probably needed Lipe alive to go for that flank at that point.
I mean, it still blows my mind that Glaz isn't banned right now.
Yeah, it definitely backfired on that round.
We've got IQ banned. We've got, you know, Blitz banned. But BootKamp were the ones to ban IQ. And again, with the questionable decisions. I guess I understand it. It's enabling Lipe to roam, right? I guess that's probably the whole point. Hey, you know, your alibis aren't going to be detected through the walls anymore. And you can use those prismas to distract your opponent. But why, though?
Again, yeah, I'd see that. I'd expect that more with Vigil or Pulse.
We've seen now one round where that roam was successful.
Yeah.
And again, I agree with you. Why not a Pulse?
Yeah, because you can communicate information to your team.
It's hard not to really hammer down on it because it's such a irrelevant thing in these rounds, and there's so much potential not being seized. The thing is, you have to see Lipe get at least 2 kills each round for him to be justified in this operator selection. From my understanding, I mean, there's certain sites and there's certain maps where it makes total sense and you have freedom of movement. And there's in certain operator bans setups where it makes even more sense. Like if you have your other roamers that are just banned out, or if you have more defensive operators that are heavy on utility, yeah, sure. I mean, you do have the Vigil ban, you do have the Mira ban, but I don't know.
And funny enough, too, we're seeing the same 6 picks every round. Outside of the very first round, we're seeing Glaz and Echo 6 pick every round.
Yeah.
Now, in the case of Echo, Switch 2 is doing it, but nonetheless, still the same effect. Which, in this case, at least they're going with a Smoke and an Echo. It's just unfortunate last time Smoke stuck his face out a little too far.
So we're actually on the kitchen now, and we did see the kitchen. That was, I believe, the
only
one
bomb set
successful round they've had. So since they've won here before, I'm inclined to say that their playstyle is much more adhesive to this site. And I think it makes a lot of sense, too. The way that the roamer played that round was heavy on security. Now, most attacking teams won't actually clear out the roamers on the security or office side of the map. It's a little bit out of the way, and that's one of the safer zones, especially when defending a site such as Kitchen. It allows you to swoop up from behind any of the attackers who are on the top floor. So Lipe played this really well last time BootKamp were here. And I have a hunch he's going to play it well again, and it might be just what BootKamp need to even this round count.
Well, hopefully Intact can do a good job on the Smoke, and that's a good job by Paula getting that early kill there. He's still got one more to potentially contest with, but the Echo was doing a great job on that Yokai, delaying though with a 2K. Unfortunate. And that works out more in the attacker's favor there. So despite the assistance from M-King, it was not enough.
Yeah, Yuke is on low HP following those 2 engagements. However, he has got to be feeling like he's definitely the one to come out the victor there. He will eventually reset himself. There's still enough time for Immortals to do just that.
And he's carrying the diffuser, so he needs to make sure to either reset or hand that off, because you definitely do not want to be trying to plant on that low of HP, especially with the Smoke still alive.
Especially not with that X factor of Lipe from security. Yet again, he has set himself up perfectly to retake into the main lobby. You have to expect, well, Immortals to expect this rotation and put someone on the flank watch. M-King will be detecting for Lipe and disorienting as well. Navi's gets intact though, so it's just M-King and Lipe, the last 2. 30 seconds left. Here comes the next EE1D. Oh, potential kill for Lipe if he just peeks around and presses mouse. Oh, misses the shots. He will light up the Twitch, but no secured kill, and that will force him to rotate. You can't come out of that doorway safe anymore. Now, there is still a Yokai drone with only 15 seconds, and this Yokai drone will be able to deny the defuse plant at least once, possibly a few more times, but M-King's the final defender, and he will be shut down by 1. You have no one else to watch your back, and you cannot deny the defuse plant. A nice attack there from Immortals, and they will take their first attack successfully on this site.
It's unfortunate he was on his drone, too, because you saw him shoot right through that hologram. Would have been marked. Had he been on the Echo, or off the Echo drone, he would have seen that mark and been able to potentially fight that. Just timing not working out in his favor. And that's what happens when you're so focused on stopping the plant and all your teammates are dying around you. Leaves you in a tough spot like that.
So, 3-1, Immortals' favor. They seem pretty dominant on this attack. I have to say, we're coming back to this, and I feel bad about it. But the operator selection from BootKamp has thus far been kind of odd.
Lackluster.
And they're changing it up here.
Yeah.
Massive props here to BootKamp, making an adaptation, seeing that, okay, it's not working out. We need to do something differently. And we are going to see some 6 picks here.
Diogo, you're not fooling anyone.
We have, so if you're wondering what my esteemed colleague is referring to, it's Diogo 6-picking on the Glaz again.
He picks other different operators to pretend he's going to be, but you know where he's going to end up every time.
Yeah, he's done Glaz pretty much every round. I think every round, in fact. And now it's coming back to the Pulse.
Well, so we were talking earlier about the IQ ban and that not being relevant to which. Now, in this case, both Lipezord and Pal's roles will be relevant to that IQ ban.
Every single one of these defensive rounds, or defensive operators, pardon, are relevant. Even the Smoke is relevant to the IQ ban. So now, IQ being banned by BootKamp makes so much sense.
Well, when it's the 5th round, all you've really done is hurt yourself on your following attack round.
That's the confusing bit. You're only getting to it at the final defensive round. Okay, the operator selection made sense. It did make sense for an IQ ban earlier. Just they're not as good as it could have been. And here, this is what we're talking about. This is as good as it can be. I mean, it can be better in theory, but this is a great operator lineup, and it could very much help BootKamp in this round.
Interesting that they're going to go with the mute over the echo, and they're just going to have to try and deny as much intel as they can, which is not a bad thing. You definitely want to make sure they can't see your setup.
Yeah.
And there are some good choke points on those doorways on this particular bomb site that could work in that favor, assuming they don't just, I don't know, throw a drone down into the bathroom and come from there.
Yeah, and still no IQ to see your mute jammers, so it's all well and good in this little world for BootKamp, and they will have, I think, a good round, at least in terms of how they are going to square up against the operator selection from Immortals. On that note, Immortals have been playing some really powerful attackers, mostly because none of them are really banned. We saw the Blitz ban and the IQ ban. The Blitz, not a huge deal. IQ, not a huge deal. And so you've got Lion, you've got Glaz. Interestingly, we aren't seeing any Thermite, especially considering how relevant Thermite is on this map.
You know, they've won 3 attacks already. Guess they haven't needed it.
It's totally fair. Yeah, they don't need it. Okay.
Maybe we'll see it from BootKamp when they switch, though.
Yeah, it's totally possible. I imagine we will.
Yeah.
Either way, Immortals now setting themselves up for a very standard attack, pushing into VIP and Guitar Hallway. They've got the full lineup. They've got that perfect setup to challenge into Projector. I gotta imagine as soon as Diogo gets onto the wall, he's gonna really have a field day peeking in through smoke to pick apart any defenders who will peek him.
Oh, just the timing there, unfortunately. He's not even using his smoke yet. He's just aggressively peeking it to try and control the situation. The nice thing about that is it does keep them pinned in there so they don't move around. And Navi's getting that kill into Lipe. Again, Lipe dying early definitely hurts this. At least he's got cameras up, though.
Yeah, this time he's still relevant post-mortem.
He can
get
watch
on his cams and he can call out information. Yeah. So well done. The Lipe's still going to be useful. Here comes the EE1D and the smokes for the cover. Immortals looking to clear in. Downstairs, Duds will win the fight against one, which is going to allow Paula to use his C4 to deny a potential plant. Navi's, though, finding the hole, moving in for the kill. Duds with a double downstairs, and the C4 from Paula. So the roam pays off, and it's going to leave Cyber and Diogo, the last 2 attackers. Now, they are paired together right now on the push into the B site. Cyber's going to deny rotation from hallway, and what a shot on Tabala as he rotates into Projector. Now he will finally be going for a plant, but Cyber needs to be covered by 1 player. That's Diogo. It all falls to him now in the next couple seconds. If he cannot save his teammate, it'll all be over. Gets a double kill on the Duds and intact. 1 defender left, and he sees him. There's no time. Goes for the rush, but the drop down's open. What a play from the mute. And Diogo narrowly misses out on the round win.
That was such a good play dropping down there. That was so close, though. Had he, because he saw him just, he could have landed that shot, though. That could have gone in Diogo's favor.
He just didn't go for it. And, you know, I want to say he was out of ammunition because he switched to the pistol, but I think that was just for a rush. And he couldn't get the kill.
Unfortunate. But either way, that's only 2 points on the board. They're still ahead by 1 here. But they are switching sides, and we'll see if that does continue to favor Immortals, but they may have to play it a little bit differently. They are going to start in Penthouse as well. They are going to be playing with a Smoke and a Maestro. No Echo just yet, unless they switch it, but Bandit, it's actually the first time we're seeing Bandit come out, I think.
Yeah, he hasn't been a heavily played operator so far. I think he's, I agree with you. I don't think he's been played at all.
Ooh, intact, switching things up.
So this is really cool. I like that we're seeing the Finka. I still don't know how I feel about her in Pro League and how useful she's going to be, but we won't know until people play her and see how she influences the rounds. So good on them to bring out that Finka here. Thank you, BootKamp. They have had the most interesting operator selection I've seen in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, well, let's see if it leads to a win. They are going to be bringing Dokkaebi instead of Lion, something we saw a lot from Immortals, whereas they didn't bring Dokkaebi, so
it's just
definitely different styles.
I still can't get over that lack of a Lion ban, and thus, you know, I think it really helped out Immortals.
I would have taken the Lion over the IQ in that case for sure, especially considering they didn't really exploit their own ban.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they did in the final round, and they won. They won that round too.
Yeah.
So,
well, food for thought.
If only they'd done it the other 3 rounds. So. Immortals now winning the first half, going on to defense.
Here's something important to note, though. Now that Intact is on Finka, they're actually missing most of the counters because they do not have an Echo and they do not have a Legion, something we saw played a lot from the other side. So it is a situation where the only real counter is Smoke at this moment, and there's less of a counter now.
It seems as if neither team is trying to directly counter each other.
Yeah, well, the 6 picks, I guess, doing their thing. Although they were just slightly predictable the entire, last or first half rather.
Only slightly.
Only slightly.
So BootKamp, interesting clear. They're going to start downstairs and move their way upstairs through the blue staircase, moving into Hookah. I love this teamwork from M-King and Paula. Working together along with Duds to clear out the roamers one step at a time, not jumping the gun, making sure they have full information before they make any push. Lipe using the Bozji,
Wow.
kind of considered a bit of a joke of a gun.
Being Buck.
You don't often see it, but here it is.
He wants to do that Buck thing, I guess, from below. It's interesting. I mean, that's an idea I guess you don't really think about is like if you're just going to be depending mostly on the SMG anyways, you can use it to do some destruction, but...
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
2 shots, though?
The SMG is really the main primary weapon on Dokkaebi, even if you're using the DMR. I think maybe the reason behind the Bozji is that if you do hit someone through the floor when you're spraying it, you do a lot of damage, yeah.
Well, doesn't matter now.
Gets the kill onto Lipe in the main lobby. Cyber will get Duds. Gets Paula as well. A double kill for him. He has been lit up, and so is Cyber. But Intact is way off in the middle of nowhere, and M-King, the final attacker in the building, is going to have to secure those kills before Cyber and Uke can be reset. Otherwise, it will be just a complete waste.
Well, 1:14 left, but that's a long time to just try and find 5 people here. Not looking good for the attackers. They need to work together in this position, but as you said, they're so far from each other. I'm not seeing this work out for BootKamp unless they can kind of recollect themselves here.
The only thing that BootKamp has in their corner is time.
Yeah.
That's it. 50 seconds is a lot to work with, but Navi's will get Intact, and that's going to leave just M-King all by himself. And you can see the defenders are already starting to frag hunt, overextending themselves, and M-King might be able to get some easy kills if he plays this right, but he's missing his shots, unfortunately.
It's just a big shooting gallery on him at this point.
Yeah, you can see he's just going to be waiting, and he hears the rotation from behind, gets Cyber, but Cyber also deals a lot of damage to M-King before he goes down, which means 20 seconds left, 1 HP. M-King has pretty much no chance of winning this, but he's just going to delay further and try to pad the stats a little bit. He's got a pistol on Habana, and that's an interesting thing to see. You don't often have that. One will finish him off finally, and Immortals will take their first defensive win.
Well, that was definitely not a good round at all.
Nope.
For BootKamp. It was Immortals. Like I said, Immortals are the ones with the experience on this map so far in Pro League. They played it and won it 6-4. 6-4 now, of course, is not a huge win by any means. That just means they won the last critical round that they needed to. But in this case, they are definitely showing their dominance on this map, as we had not seen anything from BootKamp yet. And it makes me wonder if either Immortals have changed up their strategies or BootKamp just didn't do their homework first. But Hookah, we've talked about this before, not a heavily preferred bomb site, but it is going to be their second choice here. So that should be interesting. I'm interested to see what their defensive setup is like for this to make it worthwhile for them to go to it so early.
Honestly, the thing about Hookah is I never understood why people aren't a huge fan of it. Okay, I get the basic reasoning, right? First of all, the blue stairs is a bit of a train wreck for the defense and the attack both. And it can't... Ooh, cool, a thermite pick. Finally.
Picked, even.
Anyway, blue stairs is a bit of a train wreck for both teams, and it can go either way. It's kind of a gamble. More importantly, though, the skylight in the middle of the building very directly affects this site in particular, in that it cuts off rotation from the bar inside of A to the hallway. And that's huge rotation the defense could absolutely use. I mean, imagine there's a doorway in the hallway there and you can castle barricade it. This site would become way more viable.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you've got quick access to the Aqua balcony, which again, more rotations cut off so easily. Imagine just a Blackbeard repelling on south balcony. Bam! You lose Aqua, and you lose a good chunk of that top floor.
Yeah.
You've also got the window inside of B, which can, put a Blackbeard on there. Rotation cut off. The giant window in billiards. I understand. There's a lot of different little things that add up to make this site
it's
very hard to hold.
Visibility and access for the attackers.
Right. But when we do see Hookah played, honestly, it seems like teams that bring us here, they usually have a pretty good grasp on it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the attackers tend to struggle because
it's just uncommon.
It's very uncommon. Most teams aren't practicing it.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes we see that the case with Bar as well, which is just below it. But Lipe already with the first kill onto Cyber. That's a good start. That means a lot of goo mines that will not be placed now. So that will definitely help out there. And then we're seeing Alibi again with the Maestro here, this time from Navi's.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different team. Paula going to expose himself, actually, just a little bit there as he tries to peek up. Was potential for a couple shots down, but they didn't come out. BootKamp has very efficiently taken control over downstairs, but Navi's is going to actually fight back against that. He kills Lipe, the other Alibi player, before Intact is able to refrag immediately from the front door. Good teamwork there for BootKamp. Kind of an opposition for Buck to be in, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah, definitely, and a nice chain of refrags there coming out in terms of killing each other's killers, and that puts it in an advantage to BootKamp, which is not something we've said a whole lot this match so far.
No, it certainly isn't. You know, 4-2 scoreline for Immortals, and you know, being at this disadvantage, even with half of the round still to go, it would conventionally be in BootKamp's favor. But I gotta say, I think Immortals could probably bring this back, assuming they get a little bit more spread out and cover their lanes.
Well, they have good operators for it, I think, depending on if they can get the kills. But a grenade kill is definitely going to cut that short. However, Maestro at least getting one back onto Paula. That is a good start, but important operators still left alive on the attack as well.
Yeah, after one ate some damage there, I don't know about Immortals' chances. It's going to fall a lot onto Yuke's shoulders. If one can take a single player with him as he goes down, then it's definitely possible for Yuke to get that double kill.
At least they're working together.
Yeah, it also depends on how BootKamp plays this. To be honest, at this point, the round is BootKamp's to lose. So if they work together, like you say, then BootKamp will probably get the victory.
Ooh, they're going to use those holograms to his favor, though. I mean, obviously, they're not going to mistake it for him now that they know Alibi's dead, but nonetheless, could give him some advantage in that position. They are starting to spread apart from each other a little bit, though, and that could work against them if the push comes correctly. But one gets one, as you said, that is going to definitely even things up a little bit, and that was a grenade about to be thrown that is no longer going to be used.
That is a huge kill there from one. Duds just a little too late on checking that drone hole. One only a bullet away from certain death, and actually he's going to have to clutch to win this as Yuke gets eliminated easily by Duds. It's going to be a spray onto the blue stairs, and BootKamp will take the round.
Despite that being a win for BootKamp, I feel like that was still a very good clutch attempt from Immortals. Just came down to timing in terms of catching the right people at the right time. But either way, it is just one more point there for BootKamp. Still looking pretty strong here for Immortals. I mean, they're also only 1 point up. They're also 1 point away from match point here. And they're going to try Hookah again this time. I mean, that wasn't too bad of a round for them. I feel like they probably could win this the second time around.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the roamers being a little bit better. We did see, of course, Navi's do a decent job of distracting and getting kills on the roam, but he was so easily shut down by Intact on the front door after getting his initial frag on the retreat. So if that didn't happen, then I think it would have been an Immortals round. It would have had there would have been a lot more presence from Immortals, and they would have been able to win the slugfest in the end.
Yeah.
But the way that BootKamp played was actually just as you would expect on a coastline attack. It's very specific. You set yourself up, wait for the pushes, clear a little bit into the bottom floor, start applying some vertical pressure, and then once the defenders start trying to fight back against your vertical pressure from below, those people who are already set up on the angles waiting just get a bunch of kills for free. And that's exactly how BootKamp played that last round.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting. We have a top fragger with 1 kill.
Utility player.
Yeah, support, by the way.
Yeah, well, either way, though, I think M King's been doing an okay job. So, you know, you earned some score there.
No, I mean, he has actually been doing a really good job as a support. Yeah, that's how he managed to get where he is. Those points don't come from nowhere.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it has been interesting just to see how this has developed. And we see, for example, M King didn't actually 6th pick the Thermite this time. He just figured out they'll figured it out from last time, and so he's just going to go straight for it.
Thanks for it.
Yeah, and then, like I said, you know, I said maybe when they switch, we'll see them play Thermite. Seems to be the case. They just prefer it. I do wonder if some of the teams are getting used to Thermite being banned so much in this region that they're just deciding to not develop strategies involving it as often.
To be fair, Hibana and Thermite both get banned a fair amount, and they're actually pretty close to each other in their ban
That's
rate
true.
in Latin
It's
America.
changed over time. Yeah, it was Thermite more so at first, but then Hibana's kind of caught up. So
I mean, they're true. I think it's still more Thermite, but either way, they're both getting banned a relatively equal amount.
Yeah, either way, you know one of your hard breachers might go.
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of teams, though, on that note, who are, oh, wow.
Oh, so close.
Early engagement. Navi's actually elsewhere, will get Lipe, so before he falls off, he's going to get a kill, and now he's just playing from the drop down. Oh, if this is a peek from the Ash, it looks like Navi's could actually win this. He's playing it right, but he loses the fight. Paula, what a shot.
At least he trades back on his teammate. It's unfortunate he wasn't able to cover Lipe well enough because he had an angle, just not exactly the right one. But hey, trading it back is better than nothing.
Like this here, the Thermite onto the VIP wall is going to allow for... Speaking of liking this, NPing some shots onto the feet of the defender.
Wow, he wins it.
And he will get the kill. Cyber refrags onto Paula, so the Ash taken down. It's constant back and forth with these squads.
Well, minute 30 left, too, for a 3v3 is definitely going to be an interesting situation, which definitely does favor the defenders to an extent because they have important operators still left on the board. But the fact that they were able to get as much map control as they got with the attackers that are left, this still could go either way, I think, because they have enough time left to drone, assuming they have the drones left, because the drone economy, as we've talked about, you can't throw out drones when you're dead. You can only use the ones that are left, so...
Yeah, and you could still be useful post-mortem. You just need to have those drones in the right position. Luggage hallway, Dud's making a push. He's looking for a flank. He wants to get an easy couple kills without being contested, but he's going to have to fight against Yuke on Jaeger playing the small bar in Aqua. Good position to deny this push from Duds, and Duds' position will be 100% given away as Diogo holds on to the hallway. M-King will go down. Very long angle from inside of Hookah, leaving just 2 attackers, Intact and Duds, in a 2 versus 3. With the diffuser down in the hallway, it's going to be a trepidatious push as they start peeking into this fight. The grenade will come out and miss, it seems, possibly hitting the wall, and yes, bouncing back into the hallway. Duds now from L, trying to support his teammate. It's a very long angle, but he can be effective at this range with the FAMAS. Yuke will take down attack, leaving just Duds, the final attacker, and there isn't much hope for him in this round as the gas canisters delay this round even further. 5 seconds left to go. He'll eventually go for the push, but he's got to enter into a 3-way crossfire, and he instead chooses to save the KD. Probably the right call there. You can't really fault them for that.
Well, he doesn't get points for shooting the hologram, unfortunately.
I mean, not if you shoot the top of it.
Unfortunately, the diffuser getting dropped there really cost them a lot. You saw, for example, how long it took Buck to get it, and then he just ended up dying anyways, making it even harder for Twitch because it was a situation where it wasn't, now it's in a more secure place Twitch can get to. It's actually in a worse place because he had to go through the exact same spot and more to get into that. So, did not work out, and we are now at 5-3. Match point here, looking pretty good for Immortals. Intact, are you going to stick that, or are you just going to taunt with it this time? Didn't seem to work out for you so good the last time.
Finka is in such a weird place because utility-wise, really not great unless you're planning a rush strategy that incorporates a lot of shields. But then you also have the nades, which adds a little bit of justification, but I don't think in her case it adds enough.
No, just bring Buck. You want nades then.
Yeah,
I mean, you've already got Sledge, just bring Buck.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I don't think unless you're running a rush strat and you have shields, I don't see any point to bringing Finka.
Shields aren't even as good with it anymore because of the ADS thing. Yeah, the changes to that.
They reduced its. It's like 50% reduction to ADS speed to like 25.
To be fair, I haven't seen a demonstration to know whether or not it's still good.
Well, they cut it in half.
Yeah,
right?
but it's you know. Depending on whether or not half is significant, might really depend on how fast he still is at this point.
I think it's still good. I think it's just not as ridiculous as it used to be.
I mean, he's already a good operator.
You mean like your Blitz?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I mean, let's be realistic. I'm not talking about Montaigne pulling it out.
Well, Montaigne could do it too.
Yeah.
It's just not
or the fuse shield, right? The ever-fun fuse shield we saw the other day.
Yeah, Hicks on the fuse shield.
That was fun.
That was so scary.
Bring that with Finka too. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, it would have been. I mean, he was hip-firing most of those kills, to be fair.
Yeah, he was very good on that. But either way, we're getting into what could be the final round.
Yeah, I mean, Immortals have been looking pretty strong, both on attack and defense, and now they just need to hold on for 2 minutes 40 seconds and they take it all. It's all over.
Yeah, it definitely looks good for them to potentially do that because of how effective we saw their defense was last round, as well as the previous rounds. Now they have won Penthouse before, and they've also won Hookah, so this is obviously a bomb site they've won and can or demonstrated they can win. Yep. They are going to be playing a little bit different, though. This time they're not going to have Navi's playing on the Alibi. He's going to be on Bandit, so whether that'll be a factor or not depends, because we did see it somewhat helpful for them.
There's also no Thermite, yet again, for BootKamp. So a VIP take, which is what they're setting up to do, is you can see they're clearing from Hookah right now.
And they have Bandit batteries this time, which is, actually everything's set up more so in Immortals' favor big time, I would say.
Yeah, I was about to say, the way that BootKamp is taking into this, they're going to be hurting a lot from their operator selection and their opponent's operator selection.
Yeah, unfortunate.
They will get an Evil Eye in the hallway. But still so many layers of defense to peel away.
Maybe the shock drones can at least help with this, and unfortunately I don't think that boost is going to speed up the drone at any point, so that might have been a little bit early to be using one of those adrenal surges, but hey, you get 3, why not? Just throw one in there for fun.
Only last 10 seconds, Navi's able to hit the easy headshot on Tapala. Impressive one. Holding that angle, just waiting for the opportunity. Intact, repelling on the window into sight, will be run out upon by Yuke.
Ouch.
And Immortals, already in a significant lead, really going to solidify that, not only in the round count, but now in the operator count in this particular round.
Yeah, definitely really looking bad here for BootKamp. Not that they really needed those adrenal boosts to be able to save this, but those are frags off the board. Cyber takes down one more on the duds. That is extra utility off the board in gunplay. M-King at least trading one back, but that's on to Cyber, who's probably already placed a lot of those goo mines. So I'm not sure that's going to be a big factor here.
Nope. That was a nice shot, though, all the same, onto VIP, long angle. Here comes the Habana Excaros onto the back of the projector wall, going to expose some of the anchors, that's for sure, but I'm not sure it'll matter. Ooh, from security, Life gets the back of the Jaeger, but cannot land the shots. Duke actually doing more damage than he takes in that engagement, despite the solid 2-second head start that Life had going into it, as well as the SMG-11 advantage. Now he's going to reassess, but his position now given away, and with only 15 seconds left, it's probably too late for Life to make anything happen in this round. M-King trying to go down the main stairs and look for that Jaeger yet again. He will find Yuke, but damage is done. 3 seconds left. It is physically impossible for them to get the kills or plant the diffuser, and that's it. GG. Immortals take it. Impressive feat.
6-4? Or 6-3, I'm sorry. It's not bad here for a team that won at 6-4 last time, so it shows they're improving on this map. And it's definitely not one I would want to take Immortals to. This seems to be a very strong map for them going forward. And again, this is only the second time we've seen it, so both times were Immortals playing it and winning it. So that is a good sign for them. Some good play there from both Cyber and Yuke. But Navi's, of course, in the double digits, doing quite well. We saw a lot of good plays from him. And overall, I mean, we saw a few good ones from BootKamp as well, but all that questioning we had of their defense in the very first half, I think, unfortunately, maybe a little too accurate in terms of not really paying out for them.
Yeah, I feel like we said it a lot already when it was actually happening, but the operator selection coupled with the bans from BootKamp were actually, they countered themselves.
You know, this is the second time we've seen that happen because BootKamp